Well, we've given it a few more minutes, and as attendees continue to grow, we might get underway, knowing everyone is very busy at the moment. We've got a lot to get through. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Townsville Enterprise webinar. My name is Wade Chiesa, and it is my pleasure to welcome our guest today, Kellie Tomney, to present Rest and Recover for the Future. Before I bring Kellie in and say hello, let me tell you a little bit about Kellie. After award-winning corporate career in HR, leadership and transformation, Kellie founded her own consulting business smack bang in the middle of the GFC. She was driven by a passion to share her knowledge, aspiring to guide others to live their authentic lives and achieve their most rewarding careers. She's used that challenge of operating in the GFC to continue to strengthen corporate and entrepreneurial mindsets to this day. Kellie was the first woman in Australia to successfully implement employer branding in organisations, and she was the first woman to bring personal branding to leaders and to corporate women. Having partnered closely with various companies to improve their leadership branding, Kellie has turned every single one to an employer of choice. Quite an impressive feat. She's also now on the Employer of Choice judging panel and has been for the last 8 years. Kellie is recognised worldwide as an expert in this growing field. She's now a highly sought after speaker on personal and leadership branding and also women in leadership. She's been a nominee, Telstra Businesswoman of the Year nominee multiple times, and she's recognised for achieving market leading results for individuals and businesses. She's a sought after thought leader in creating future-proof leaders, really critical at this point in time for both leaders and organisations. And she's also the author of upcoming books which illuminate what makes leaders and businesses future-proof in their growth. Kellie has worked with organisations and continues to work with organisations such as Apple, LinkedIn, the Westpac Group, Commonwealth Bank, KPMG, and Woolworths. And most importantly, she knows Townsville and this region because she's worked with businesses in this region and business leaders in this region, something really important. So it's going to be very Townsville and North Queensland centric today. And to be honest, we're thrilled to have her here speaking to us on Reset and Recover for the Future. Kellie Tomney, welcome.
Great. Thank you, Wade. I'm really, really, really happy to be here.
I guess first and foremost, when we're talking about your history and your past, you created your own consulting business smack bang in the middle of the GFC. How was that? And the timing? Why the timing?
The timing, goodness, not smart. Have to confess, absolutely. I was going through, I suppose, change, which we all know can be outside of our control. And we had a corporate career, I was really loving it, but a merger, acquisition, a CEO left, and I really started to just not necessarily love that corporate career. I wanted to move, and they were offering me other roles, but they just weren't fulfilling me. And I had a relationship that I wanted to progress over 2 years. My partner was in the US. So I decided, with the lack of career clarity and fulfilling options, that I would be the one to move. And so I chose to move, say no to the jobs, etc. And he called it off on my last day of work in Sydney. So I suppose the key relevant thing for us today is this reset and crisis can come from anywhere, but this was a personal one. It meant then it was a career and, income and livelihood. I had no income. I had no where to stay. I eventually went because I didn't have a future plan. I didn't have a plan B. And this is also relevant right now in terms of, through no fault of anyone's, people in Townsville, small business, big business, large business, something outside of their control has happened, and it's had a massive impact on their lives, their identity, their brand, their purpose, why they do their things. They might have lost, had to lose staff members who are super important to them. So I suppose this is just a bit of that's why I started it out of necessity. There were no jobs. I didn't have a visa. I didn't have any contacts. I was all alone in Washington, DC. I started it out of necessity. I needed
I guess,
to make an income. Yeah.
And I guess you call on those experiences during that time, especially now. I mean, if we had $1 for every time we heard unprecedented, uncharted waters. I mean, I know it's an overused term, and politicians use it a lot, but there's no better way to describe it, isn't it? Like and I guess the key thing with business is one of the things they need is some level of certainty, and that must be difficult to navigate, I guess, at this point in time.
Oh, I mean, I am now a small business owner with likewise the Townsville members. It's tough. We are, no matter, I've been future-proofing, for 11 years now. I do use that professional and purposeful experience. But even we've had to adapt, change plans that we had that they're just not going to come to fruition anymore. And so it's super tough, I just want to say. On top of that, Townsville have obviously had the floods and a whole heap of other challenges. So I think, yes, we hear unprecedented. I'm not going to go through any of the stats and all the hardship stuff. We know it. I suppose the key thing for me was how do we reset and recover? That was the hardest thing for me to find back then. I was, we can just feel so alone. This stuff can be, business stuff is personal. When it's your own business, it's into your life. So how do you actually reset when it's so much a part of you? So we'll share on that today, but it's incredibly tough.
Well, I'll stop asking the questions. There'll be some opportunity for some questions afterwards. I know you've got some slides and a presentation to share with everyone, so I'll hand over to you. And as I mentioned at the start, if you did want to ask a question, please do throughout the webinar. We'll try and get to them at the end. And of course, you can email tell@tell.com.au as well. So, Kellie, I'll hand over to you for the rest of the webinar.
Wonderful. Thanks, Wade. That's great. And we can have a long conversation on all of that. I love that. That's really, really great. So please ask some questions. And of course, I'm going to offer actually for any more help, please get directly in contact me. But it's challenging. I'm not going to go through all the problems of the business landscape. We read about it all the time. I just want to say it is so challenging, and the future has been fast-tracked with environmental issues as well as the COVID health emergency caused an economic emergency. So what's happening and how challenging it is as a business operator. I get it. I'm working with people every day on this. So let's get to the how. It is future-proofing is needed more than ever. I've grown up in country South Australia. The nearest town was about an hour away and of about 10 people. So quite remote, and I'm very, very passionate about regional and big centres like Townsville absolutely booming. So let's do this together. Whilst we know it's so challenging, I just want to say, yes, we know all the challenges there, but let's not let the fear take root is the key thing. I know that's really, really hard to say, but I say that empathetically. I have been in very, very tough situations myself, and I just think focusing forward optimistically but realistically and authentically is the best way that we can all manage through this. And I want to give you the tools here. What's really, and I welcome you to please take notes. I think this is a webinar that's going to be available on the Tell site, so fantastic. But if you think about really where your business is at the moment, there are different stages of a crisis. And I find this is helpful when I'm working with business owners to really say, is their business? We've had a crisis, absolutely. It's caused chaos. We're, as a global community, having to contain. It's super stressful. Are we learning from it? What have we learnt from the crisis? So some questions as we go through, some things for your business could be, what have you learnt through this crisis? There will be some things that you've actually think have helped, that you've actually enjoyed out of the crisis. It might be a little bit more time on some of the elements of the business. Other things you will just think, I just need to retire. Those parts of the business have not been successful, for example, and you may not want to take those forward into the future for your business. So this learning opportunity is absolutely critical. So just do take some notes there of some time of what have you learned through the crisis. It may be about your clients, it may be about your customers, what they really, really value, so that we can recover. We really can reset and recover and actually to a better new future. That's what I'm about. And so we make sure that actually we end up even better off after this crisis. And I know that can sound like that's just too far. However, I work with business owners all day. I know that that's achievable. We're doing this. It does involve some thinking differently and some innovating and some support, but we can do it. And I just know Townsville people and the business community there, it's strong. You can do this. You're talented. Let's apply some different approaches. So another aspect here is the stages of crisis management. So there's the pre-crisis, there's the crisis response, and then there's the post-crisis. And what I'm encouraging business owners and leaders to do is to actually be thinking post-crisis now. We know, obviously, the big conversation is, when are the borders going to open up so we can get travel into places like Townsville, so we can get some of that more business going for everybody. I know that's absolutely key. So what can we be doing now to make sure that we absolutely reset post-crisis even stronger? The keys for this are clarity. Clarity gives you confidence. If you can think any time in your business where you've been really confident, a lot of the times you've been clear. You've been clear on your offering. You've been clear on your customers that you're targeting. You've just known it's going to work. And that gives you the commitment, the courage, and the conviction. And I know right now almost everything is needing to be reset. So we take a different lens on business. Everyone is having to do this because everyone has been affected, every business that I'm talking to. So take a moment. I wanted to share with you, this is a model that I work businesses through and business leaders through. And we check on, where is your business feeling at the moment? Where is the growth? Now, completely understand that almost every business, when I'm doing this with them, is of course feeling that their growth options are decreasing through no fault of their own. COVID and flooding, these sorts of things out of your control have happened and have decreased your business growth options. Okay, I get it. You can feel that some of the bits and your whole business plan going forward can be feeling like destroyed, diminishing your options. Plans that you wanted to do can be put on hold, retired, those sorts of things. But where we want to get people to is such that we're future-proofed, so that you've got abundant growing options and that you're amplified and you're ever growing. I hate to say it, but there's going to be more change coming in our hearts, and you know it as well. As a business owner, there is more change coming. So the people and the businesses that adapt now are going to be the ones that thrive in future. And it's not all bad. Some of the business owners that I'm working with are like, actually, I didn't want that location. It was causing me issues, and it had such high rent and whatever. Now I've found an absolutely a better one, which is much better for my staff and my customers and those sorts of things. So a lot of this stuff can actually be reset to an increased amplified level. And so just take a note now. I know that we've only got a short time today, but just where you feel your business is at. Where have you got a plan B for your business to after we recover from this, or how we reset? And even now what I'm doing with businesses is even just the 30-day plan. I get that it's very, very tough to do future planning in this environment. So how are you feeling? I have felt at times in my career and business where you have felt disconnected from it. You felt abandoned. For example, something out of your control has happened and you really were excited about taking things to the next level. So I have felt down there, but I've also felt at the very top of this ladder. And so what we help you through, and just have a look for yourself now, where would you want your business to be? Now let's think maybe a year's time. I know that that can be hard right now, but where would you want to be, your business, and get your business at this point in time? And when I'm asking people of that, business owners at this point in time, most of them are really sort of saying the activated area. They're wanting to have put new plans in place, be accelerating that more growth, being back to profit that's actually sustainable, that's set for the future, and that they're influencing more, and they've actually got more options for the future. So being realistic in the climate that, okay, they do need to get unlocked, they do need to get some direction, they do need to start to put some things in place, and they need to start to have more options for their business. So just a note there, where do you feel at the moment in terms of your business? And in a year's time, where would you like to get your business? I'm not going to spend much of time on this, but I'm just going to say that everyone has been affected in this crisis, in this COVID crisis. Every business owner has been affected. So I just want to say that, and I have been in this period as well. All my speaking, of course, was cancelled overnight. My business partner, who's in his main clients, sporting organisations, events, those sorts of things, we went down to zero. I'm being very honest and transparent here. It's so absolutely, again, really, really tough times for people, and it has impacted everybody. Our lives, income, our livelihood, our contacts, and as it has taken me back to those times and the strategies even more so that I employed when I needed them, when I had went from a big job to none at all in a global financial crisis. But in these times, what's happening, the key dilemmas for people are that they are wondering what's next. How do they actually adapt, change, survive throughout this? We feel, a lot of us, at a crossroads. What choice? A lot of us are probably thinking, okay, do I still keep my business? Do I reshape it? Do I do something else? There's much more choice now than ever before, with careers and business and that sort of thing. So it actually makes it even harder to make a choice. It's called the paradox of choice, is what I ask and call it. People, their confidence is down. Okay, naturally, their business may have been very, very successful, and it has overnight, through no fault of their own, it may have, disintegrated and collapsed. So our confidence goes down to step forward and do something and put our heart and soul into it again. We want to contribute. Now, the people and the businesses that I've worked with in Townsville, I know you are driven. You have got great opportunities. You've got great talent there. You do want to make a difference. You do want to have high impact businesses, and you can do it, but it is how. Okay. Now, I wanted to share with you another how. This is, and just checking in for your business. Where do you feel at the moment? Now, most businesses, okay, where I want to get them is that they know where their future growth is coming from and that they're activating on that, okay? So we want them to be in that top quadrant there, that future-proofing quadrant, where we go, right, and even now as the world has absolutely changed, then how do we future-proof? Even the ones that had plans before, they would be resetting them. The other area, say that green box here, is where they're forward planning as a business. We know where the future growth is going to come from the business, but we may not be activating it to the higher levels. Now, a lot of that is happening at the moment with my businesses that are doing the forward planning at the moment, but they haven't put things in place yet. So naturally, that's sort of where the pioneers, the forward thinkers are really at the moment. Most of businesses are in survival mode. Okay, very, very naturally, that is where almost everyone is, whether they've got that everyone has been affected. Okay, so future growth, most don't know where it's coming from and they haven't activated the plans for it. So we're in survival. Your business may be in a bit of firefighting mode. This is the other really common one, particularly at the moment, where it's like, don't know where the future growth is coming from, but I'm running like crazy, absolutely running like crazy. And we know that as business owners and leaders, you're giving to everyone else. And so who gives to you? Who actually helps you be planning for your business, your life, your future? Often you're giving so much to staff, families, those sorts of things. So the firefighting mode is really, really common at this point too. So just make a note where you're feeling at the moment in terms of, running your business and where you'd like to get to within a year. Now, of course, most people say we want to be future-proofing. Fantastic, let's do it. But even if it's in the next period of time, it's just making that note to actually start some forward planning. And I'm going to give you some tools that I use with businesses shortly. You know it yourself, in yourself too, but you probably know it in your staff members and those sorts of things, where there's latent potential in each of you. When I ask most people and say, look, how much of your potential are you using day to day? Almost everyone says, or the hours are huge, but I could do a lot of my stuff on, in my sleep. I'm not actually doing, I might be doing majorly the accounting in my business. I might be doing a lot of the bookkeeping, for example, that's not allowing you to actually be in your superpowers. So really what we do in terms of we're wanting you to be in your superpowers in your business. So we're wanting to get the full potential for it so we can get the highest profitability for it and the best market positioning and engagement within your staff, within your clients. Now, the key thing here is clarity gives you confidence. We know business confidence at the moment is super low, Australia-wide with the stats. Globally, even worse, because thankfully in Australia we have contained things to a reasonable level. But business confidence is down. Naturally, then that impacts our own business ownership confidence. And so we want to make sure that we get a clear plan so that we can go forward and we know this plan's going to be future proof. It's going to work and we've got options which we think are fantastic. Future proofing, I've tried to give phase one here. Okay, we've just got a short amount of time here with us today, but I think for you, if you could jot this down for you, for your business at the moment, these 3 circles, and we can just have a bit of a thinking time now just to go really, okay, is your purpose for your business right now, post-COVID, okay, is it, post the floods and post all the challenges that Townsville have felt, is it still relevant? And I know that's hard to say, but how is the purpose for your business? Does it need resetting? Almost all business purposes do need to be resetting. The reason for being has changed. Now, even some of, my hairdresser clients, for example, they're like, oh no, people still need their hair done. Okay, I don't need to change. It's like, okay, let's think about that. So even in that example, I've been cutting, my husband's hair for the last 8 weeks. We've ordered the clippers, we've done it. He's actually happy with it. How could you believe? But it's actually, and I'm actually enjoying it. It's another skill set, but it's actually kind of fun. And so now even that business, now for Gary to be going back to the hairdresser, there's a different value proposition there. Why would he go now? It's going to be for different reasons. So all of our businesses, and I just share that one example. So we've worked through with that business owner and going, well, actually, it's going to be about connection now. It's going to be about your clients coming in. They want to connect. They want to have a chat. That's part of the whole experience. So restaurant owners, we're finding, so many people have been cooking at home now, for example. So we're finding that we're really needing to help businesses reshape their purpose, their reason for being. And we can do it. Don't be in despair. There's absolutely going to be some really, really great businesses that thrive out of this. Absolutely. That come out of this chaos and the overwhelm, and they absolutely thrive and be better for the business owners as well. So is your purpose still compelling post the crisis? Okay. Now the next bubble for your business is the priorities. What business priorities do you have right now? And I know with the business owners that I work with that your business impacts your life. Okay. So you may have life priorities, as well, that are absolutely huge, caring for elder people, those sorts of things, not being able to see some people in other states, and et cetera, et cetera. So priorities, financial is absolutely key for most business owners at the moment, obviously critically. So we make sure that these priorities are really super clear. The next bubble, next circle for you is the plan. Do you have the business plan out of this? Now, I know almost no one comes to me and goes, yes, I've got the post-COVID business plan, because this was absolutely, I'm not going to use the unprecedented word. Well, I did. This is a huge, it wasn't foreseen. However, clients that I work with, we already did have a plan of going, okay, well, you lose your income. Well, what else would you do? So it's not an excuse, if we like, to say, oh, look, we should never future plan. That's never going to be part of my methodology. You can see why, because I've experienced not having a plan B, and it took me years to recover financially, career-wise, personally, in every type of way, spiritually, just, myself. So I will always be the proactive one here and encouraging you to absolutely to reset and be planned. So then you can pivot, then you can adapt. And the clients that I've been working with previously, when this happened, they were able to adapt and go, okay, right, that's not going to go forward. I'm going to put my other 2 and 3 options in place. Not great, but they were able to pivot much more quickly than others. So this here, I just take a note here. When you've got all of this together, you reset and reshape, and you will absolutely recover much, much quicker. It gives you the clarity, gives you the confidence, gives you the conviction and the courage to move forward. So some of the key tips is knowing and growing your future business purpose. So definitely getting onto that. Okay. The future does depend on what we do today. It really does. And I know it's going to be fantastic coming back to Townsville and just seeing what people do, how they do reshape out of this crisis. So let's make sure that it's something absolutely amazing that you love in your businesses and communities too. So it does take as much energy to wish as it does to plan. And so really, I do want to encourage the planning. And I know almost all my business owners go, oh my God, I hate doing a business plan. I've never had a business plan. I hear all this all the time, and I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know I was going to do my business 11 years ago, but I had to pull it together very, very quickly because I didn't have anything, no income. So the planning, I get pragmatic with the business planning to make sure that it absolutely happens, and you can adapt and move in that plan, but you do have some direction with it. Clients that I've worked with before, and I encourage you, particularly during this time, is really only really doing the things that are the highest value and the highest impact for you. And when I work with people that are business owners and leaders and that stuff, it's some of this stuff is time with their family. It is reading the paper. It is walks with their dog. It is that great TV show that you and your partner or your friends might like. It's making sure that you do have these times, and this stuff is really important for you as well as your business, just to make sure that you're as fulfilled as you possibly can through super tough times. And people make sure that they have this in all of their life going forward. But you soon realize stuff that you can let go of, stuff that actually wasn't giving you joy, particularly in some situations. People have really going, okay, I know that particular staff member was taking up all of their time, all of their space, and actually really probably holding them back. So it's really going, okay, what is the highest impact, highest value stuff that you really could be doing in the future? And then I just wanted to throw it to the group and get some questions too around and just making sure that you leave today with at least one thing that will help fuel your future. So post JobKeeper coming off, post September is going to be an interesting time, okay? And really making sure, and I know that's a goal for a lot of my business owner clients is that making sure that they are prepared and positioned as well as they can be. It's only a couple of months away, really. So making sure that they've actually got everything in place for them. So the plan and the purpose can be really, really critical for them, is probably some of the key actions that most are getting. So I've been thinking, and I wanted to offer this to you. And I have been doing this through through COVID, but actually before online anyway. 11 years ago I started my business from a laptop in Washington DC because I needed to. So I've been online as a business for 11 years or so. So it's not, I was thrown into it. So that bit has not been new for me. But what I've absolutely, and people are saying they really have valued, is connecting with other like-minded people. I do fortnightly calls, and we share strategies and we share accountability, where we're saying, actually, okay, this is my next step with my business. This is my plan. What do you think about this? So there's some really great sharing. They can ask me questions. I give them tools each time. Let's work through your business plan. Let's work through your priorities. Let's work through your purpose. Most struggle with that, absolutely. And so we just give practical tools that we can help each other through, and it just makes sure that you're pragmatically moving you and your business and your life forward over these times. So if you'd like to have got any questions on that, or if you'd like to have a complimentary chat about how any of this, how you want to future-proof your business, there's the Calendly link there, or my email. Just email me directly, or just book into my calendar there. And so I just really wanted to offer that. It's free. Have a chat. I can give you some more tips, and just see whether you would like to join. I would love a Townsville group that we can say, wow, this group helped each other through the crisis and reset and recover even better. I know that can happen. So would love for that. And any questions at all, please let me know. And I know we've raced through that, but hopefully that's given you some key things to do now.
Thanks, Kellie. That's great. As per usual, even if you don't get a chance to ask a question today, we will. You can email tell@tell.com.au, and we will answer those questions for you. And a great initiative, Kellie, as well, getting people together to help solve some of those problems. Just a couple of questions that have come through. You spoke about purpose, business priorities, and plan. I guess, how important is it to try and remove the noise at this point in time, to sit down and is it brainstorm the purpose, or is it look at what could be next post-COVID?
What a great question. I'm finding what's most helpful is a power hour. Business owners, we're all busy. We've got our life. Often we've got more people at home now than we've needed to. We've got isolating, that sort of stuff. If we can get just an hour of focused time with a tool that's, people, as you know, Wade, it can be years before you get a business plan, and it's, out of date by the time it's done. So I do a business plan on a page. So it's okay, an hour, we do a business plan on a page that is future-proofing, you can adapt to. So I think that's where business owners are finding just an hour. If I can focus on that with some good intent, that's helping people move forward. I think the other side of things is it can be really difficult because our confidence is down, and we're reading so much around the issues and those sorts of things, we can get procrastination happening. And so what happens in coaching one-on-one or a call would be going, well, that was last week, Kelly. You said you were going to do that TELS call. You still haven't done it. That was going to progress and help a lot of people. Why haven't you, can we make sure that we do that next week? Or what were you struggling with on the business plan? Let's work through that. So I think rather than we get really a lot of procrastination happening right now because there's a lot of fear out there, and that keeps us small rather than keeping us growing and bigger and evolving new options. So I'm finding that a lot. So if people can just connect, and I know that's a great purpose of TEL, is if people can just connect and realise that almost everyone is in this situation and has been impacted, and it is deep, it is our livelihoods, it's big time income losses, and then we can go, right, I'm not alone, we can step people forward and make progress. And I'll share a bit of a some successes of people. They've got business practices, for example, and they're going, wow, I can't see my clients anymore, for example, and it's just like, okay, and I can't advertise. There may be health professionals, for example, like, okay, let's step through, let's think of some different ways of actually doing this. And one of the clients, this week, it's like, okay, we're sending out business cards. Now she's got referrals coming, too many of them now. That's a great place to be in. But she's had to really change her mindset and then go, okay, I didn't really want to do that. Didn't really feel comfortable about promoting myself and my business in that way. But I've done it, it's authentic, and now I'm getting the rewards. I'm getting a lot of great clients out of it. And she'll have a new business model now. And so it's just not staying stuck for too long.
Yeah. I guess this is another one in relation to, how you talked about purpose, priorities and plan. And then you spoke about the highest impact is your highest, value. Does that then should that fold into your priorities then? Is that almost another power hour, so to speak, as to what's the key impact that you can do for your business?
Absolutely. Yes, that is a power hour just in itself. Once you've got those going, okay, your time is so, so precious as a business owner. So, okay, and your money, it's like, how am I going to, what's the highest value, highest impact things that I can do to set myself up for the future? That's exactly what it is. And it's interesting. It's also energy too. You can actually, people go to the time, the cost, but it's actually, there's a lot of things that are energy zapping in business. And so I look at that as well. And that may be, wow, my bookkeeper's just driving me, crazy. That just is not effective. Okay, right. Well, we've got the time at the moment. Let's set that up so much better for you, such that when you come out of this, and then they get a bookkeeper which is adding value to their business in other ways. So it's just the energy as well.
Yeah. So would that be your advice at the moment, is to almost holistically look at like business and self? So is that tying both of them in together?
Yeah, I'm always business and self, so professional and personal. And I think what we're seeing going forward is that there's much more combinations in our careers than ever before. So even professionals are now starting up businesses on the side, and business owners may do some freelance work, or they may have a job doing something else as well. There's more combinations in career than ever before. So I have it as professional and personal. So making sure that you actually give to yourself, and then you can get, and you Also, you're giving to your clients as much as you receive. That can be a really big thing, particularly for big business owners and leaders where they're just giving out all the time. And even work-life balance can be work and then life is just giving to the family and the community, and it's like still what's there for you to fill you up and future-proof you personally.
I guess that work-life balance too, like work is happening sometimes at the kitchen table, so the split. I'm sure that's happening with a lot of people. So I guess that. But any advice to people on the webinar about, how do you probably get rid of that noise to get into that sort of growth mindset of, because you look reading and even the news, the doom and gloom. It's difficult, I know, but how do you push past that? I guess
one of the biggest things, I think, the highest impact thing, one of those is purpose. When you have got your own unique purpose for you and your business, that gets you through. And then you can basically, that's your guide. It's motivating, it's inspiring, you want to do it, it's so aligned to you, it's authentic, it's amplified. The purpose is the key one. The other thing is mastering your mind. So I think, and brand, once we've got someone's brand, they can be just living their brand in everything that they do. And then it's really an activating that. But then mastering your mind, it's really tough. That fear, that trying to keep us small, and the pressures of the crisis at the moment is really, really tough. And so it's just being positive for positive sake, but it's being realistically optimistic is what I say, is stepping forward with realistic but optimism as well. And that tends to take the clutter away and reduce some of that fear and noise that keeps us small.
Yeah, absolutely. We've covered a lot in this time, and I know we've only got an hour to talk about it for a long time. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave us with, or anything that we've missed today?
Oh, I just think there is such opportunity, and I do, from the people that I know in Townsville, I just think, wow, like if we could think, in a year's time, what could it be, and that you could absolutely make reset to a whole new level. I think that's very, very exciting. I think that's the big thing, that I just think, you could create a much better future. As in all of our communities, there were things that weren't working in our businesses, in our lives, that weren't working. So returning to normal, I don't think is the right solution. I think we completely reset to a new level, and I've got confidence that your businesses can do it.
And I guess that's a really good point to finish on. Is right now there's an opportunity to look at what wasn't working and what you hope to be your business to be, and that's, like you said today, your purpose.
Yeah.
And then identify what your priorities are, and maybe that is about reducing some of the clutter or reducing the things that aren't working, and looking at ways to grow. And then the last step, and you spoke about it, is to plan it. And I think we've been forced to a certain extent to just reimagine the way, a lot of businesses have had to reimagine the way they've had to do things. And I think, is it fair to say, have had some fairly surprising results?
Surprising results. So the hairdressing example, she was like going, oh, it's all changed, it's all done. She's reset. And I'm like, this is what it should have been years ago. So, yeah. So absolutely. But it does take a flip. And what I'm finding for people is setting shorter goals. So just setting a 30-day plan, 30-day priorities, and that's what I'm saying. We'd do fortnightly calls for this. Just being it. The world is changing, things are changing. you know, legislation's changing, updates on the crisis are changing, which is impacting business. So we're just needing to be quite adaptive at the moment. So a fair bit more short-term plan as well.
Yeah, excellent. Well, it's been great. As I said, we could keep talking about this, but we're running short of time. The webinar will be replayed on the Townsville Enterprise website, and also your slides will be up there as well, with the details of how you get in touch for that complimentary catch-up or coffee, or you can email Kellie at kellietomney.com. Again, if you have any questions in relation to today, please email us at tel@tel.com.au. Kellie Tomney, it's been an absolute privilege and pleasure to having you on the webinar. Thanks very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Wade. Thanks, everyone. I look
forward
to connecting.
Thanks for joining us.
Excellent.
I hope you enjoyed the webinar. We'll be back next Thursday for another webinar. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day and good afternoon.